Hi folks, Ernest Morrow here, Living Awake. I want to talk to you today about what happens when you're triggered. What happens when you're sailing along, life is good, you're acting out of your compassion, your equanimity, and then bang, something happens and you're triggered. Your pain body is activated. Your ego is hurt, and all of a sudden, all the wounds take over, and you go into a negative spiral. You go into anger, you go into blame, you go into complaint, you go into fixing. Who's wrong, and how do I fix this problem? Because I don't want to feel this way. That's trigger, and that's where all pain and suffering comes from. When I'm triggered, when I'm defensive, when I'm angry. And what we need to do is get really skillful here, folks. This is not a moral exercise. This is a skillful exercise, because what happens when we're triggered is that we create suffering for ourselves and for those people around us. So how do we deal with a trigger? There's a few easy steps. Simple steps, maybe not easy steps. But they're easy to understand, and I want to share them with you today because they're going to help. First thing, you've got to figure out, to realize, to wake up to the fact that you're triggered. You're flooded with emotion. You just went into fight or flight. And that feels like something, right? It feels like something is new in our body. We're contracted. We're ready to fight. We're booking it out of there. You know, we feel ourselves pull back. We cringe. Whatever it is for you, we have to realize, whoa, I'm triggered. I just got triggered. Okay, I'm not where I was. I'm not in my right place. I'm on edge. That is huge. First of all, first solvent, awareness. I'm triggered, right? I'm feeling this trigger. That's the biggest and first step. And we can't really do anything else until we realize in real time, I'm triggered. It doesn't matter if it's 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 50 minutes, 5 days. Sometime into that trigger period, we have to realize I'm triggered. Step 2, what do I do now that realize that I'm triggered? Well, first things first, stop saying what you're saying and doing what you're doing, because you can be absolutely 100% sure that what you're doing out of that place of trigger, you are sowing suffering and you will reap suffering. You will transmit pain into the world and to yourself. So, step 1, realize that you're triggered. Step 2, stop doing whatever it is you're doing. And step 3, tell yourself it's okay. Right? Don't make yourself wrong here, folks. Everybody gets triggered. You get triggered for a very, very good reason. It's an adaptive response. It's everything to do with how your nervous system is, and we're on a journey of transforming that, of shifting that. But right now is not the time to make yourself wrong for being triggered, because that's what that's only going to do is exacerbate the trigger, because underneath the trigger is a whole pile of shame and guilt and unworthiness every time. So don't make yourself wrong. Actually establish, even if it doesn't feel like anything, what you want to say is, it's okay. It's okay. You're talking to the trigger. You're talking to that part of yourself which is freaked out and ready to fight or hurt another person or run away or close down. Maybe already is. And you're saying, okay, I see you. Got you. It's okay. It's okay. Step 1, realize you're triggered. Step 2, stop whatever it is you're doing. Step 3, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, that's a basic, the first 3 steps. And already you'll have disidentified from the trigger. Already you are less captive by the pain body than you were before you realized that you were triggered. Each of these steps is kind of unplugging from that almost a possessing entity, that energy which is taking you over for a moment and is causing yourself suffering and other people suffering. Now comes the real solvent, And so trigger comes with a lot of thoughts, a lot of attack thoughts, a lot of blame thoughts, a lot of self-critique, a lot of other critique, a lot of this should not be happening ideas and thoughts. Trigger can never, ever be dealt with on the level of thoughts. It's not about replacing those thoughts. This is not a time for affirmations, folks. This is not a time for talking yourself out of your thoughts. It's not a good use of energy, and it's just almost 99% ineffective to try to use the brain to shift what's happening in your mind. We've got to go underneath that. We've got to get closer down to the root. And so whatever it is you're thinking, that's okay. We're not going to judge it. We're not worried about it. We're not making it wrong. We're just going to drop beneath it, because we've got to get into what you're feeling. So step 4, feel your feelings. What I mean by that is drop into the body. So there's 3 layers here. They're the thoughts, they're the emotions. You could identify fear, anger, sadness, shame, disappointment, all these things. And we're going to go even deeper now, because to really feel those feelings isn't to label them, because that we're still kind of on the level of intellect here. Labeling the feelings, we're going to feel the feelings. Where do we feel the feelings? In the body. We go to sensation. We have to find out where that feeling, that emotion is in our body and what it feels like. And all we need to do is to go inside and feel whatever it is there. Could be a tightening in my chest, could be a burning in my solar plexus, could be a tingling in my hands or my feet, could be my whole body feeling like it just tensed up. Whatever it is, whatever's the most obvious layer of sensation. So let's just go through this again. I'm triggered. First thing, realize I'm triggered. Second piece, stop whatever it is that I'm doing. Stop. Step 3, it's okay. Not going to make myself wrong. This is okay. Step 4, I'm going to feel what I'm feeling. I'm going to drop beneath the thoughts into the sensation of the emotion as it exists in the present moment in my body. What is the loudest sensation in my body? And I'm going to go there with my attention, with my awareness. I'm going to go into the sensation. I'm going to go into that burning in my chest. I'm going to go into that knot in my gut. I'm going to go right beside the feeling in my hands, the balled up fists. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be present to that feeling. My mind, the nature of mind is to keep thinking. That's fine. We're not going to try to change the mind, right? We're not sitting in the mirror chanting affirmations. It's not Serenity Now time, for those of you who remember that Seinfeld episode. This is simply being with the sensation and putting ourselves as close as we can with our awareness next to the sensation. Just being there. And what we're doing here is we're saying to that part of us, that hurt part, because it exists within us and our bodies are mapping it. We're saying, I see you. It's okay, I'm right here. I see you, I acknowledge you, you matter. And we're saying that, and you can even say that to that place. If you want to send it energy, send it breath, send it space, that burning in your heart, the tightness in your gut, the clenched fists, the rage that is going through your body, the shame, the guilt, the frustration, all of it, whatever it feels like inside of you, we're coming right into that sensation. And we're saying, I see you. And you're okay just the way you are. I don't need you to be any different. I don't need you to change. I'm here just the way you are. It's okay. And I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to feel you. I'm going to feel you as completely as I can. The mind, it goes on, maybe judging, maybe critiquing. We're not going to put our awareness, our attention there right now. We're attending simply to the sensation. We're feeling the feelings as they are in our body in this moment. And this is what we do. We give them breath. See if you can breathe into those feelings, breathe into that space in your body. And this message that we're giving is, I see you. You matter to me. This feeling is important. I don't need you to be any different. You could get bigger, you could get smaller. You could change, and another feeling in my body might arise, and I'll follow that. Whatever the loudest sensation is, I'm just tracking. And then, sooner rather than later, actually, it will all quiet. Because what that feeling wanted, more than anything in the world, was to be felt. Feelings are here to be felt. They're not here to be rejected. They're not here to be figured out and solved. They're not here to be resisted. That's what the mind does. The mind doesn't want to feel the feelings. What the mind does, the fuel for the ego, is actually escape, escape. This feels terrible. What can we do to change this? The feeling, the message to the feeling is, you're wrong. Go away. We don't like you. And all that does, folks, is exacerbate the trigger. Because the trigger comes from that place within you, a wounded little place, that still believes that it needs to be different in order to be safe, in order to be lovable. That's the wound that we all carry. It's our original shame. That shame that I am not okay the way I am is exacerbated by this egoic mind game, which really resists feeling what we're feeling. In a sense, again, telling that little part of us, that little wounded part, you are wrong right now. And so what we're doing to dissolve this trigger is flipping it all around. And we're saying, I'm just going to be with this feeling, this sensation in my body. That's the icon, that's the portal, that's the symbol right here. That's our way into this wound, is the feeling we're having in the moment. And instead of making that wrong and trying to figure out and doing anything I can to distract myself or force myself into another place, what I'm actually doing is turning towards that feeling. This is the shamanic flip. Instead of running from the darkness, we turn towards it. This is the frog that gets kissed and turns into a prince. This is the archetype of the fairy tale. And this is what the solvent is our willingness to say to that hurt little part, I see you. You're okay just the way you are. And I'm just going to be right here. I'm just going to be right as close to you as I can get. And that might take 5 minutes, it might take 10 minutes, it might take even longer if it's a really deep, deep, deep wound. But what we're doing here, folks, is we are feeling that feeling. And every moment that we feel that feeling, it releases. It's like a boiling pot, and the water is bubbling to the surface and then releasing. And then the pot lowers. The liquid in that pot is reduced as the steam rises. And so what we're doing here is we're allowing that stored up, blocked emotion, all this residue of feelings that we did not feel fully because we were too scared to, and then we've accumulated throughout our lifetime. We're allowing that just to be transmuted, boiled off with every second that we spend in contact with that feeling, fully just feeling the sensation, not the story, not the story. The story is what makes us go like this. The story is what has us resist the feeling. So we're not telling ourselves the story. That's not feeling the feeling. Feeling the feeling is being with the sensation. And as we are with that sensation, the level is reducing and reducing and reducing. And so, the beauty of those moments of trigger is that these moments, and these moments alone, are the path to freedom. We cannot work on that trigger. We cannot reduce the level in the pot if we are not in contact with that feeling, because it's that feeling that needs to be felt. And so when a circumstance or a person in your life arises and you get triggered, this is a holy moment, Because right in that moment, that situation, that event, that person has given you the gift of being able to be in contact with that residue. And if you're in contact with that residue, you can feel it. And if you can feel it, you can release it. And so you walk away from that event, that person, that situation, and the level of pain within you has been lowered. And so the world becomes a very, very great and merciful place to live. Because when we're not triggered, we can live in that place of equanimity and compassion and love and grace and ease. And when we are triggered, it's an opportunity to increase our capacity to be in grace and ease. Because here and here alone is the opportunity to release these pent-up emotions. And so triggers, bring them. Bring them on. Welcome them. This is the beauty of the world that we live in and this amazing life that we are part of. We can welcome everything when we get these very easy to understand anyway practices and skills and techniques under our belts. So, the next time you're triggered, step 1, recognize that you're triggered. Want to. And when you're not triggered, intend that the next time you are triggered, you will realize that you're triggered. And this doesn't matter, again, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, whenever you wake up to the fact that you're triggered. Then step 2, stop whatever it is you're doing in that moment. Because out of that trigger, nothing good will happen for yourself or for other people. Step 3, it's okay. Don't make yourself wrong. Compassion. Okay, this is okay. This is here to help me be free. And step 4, feel those feelings. Go down into the level of sensation in the body. Beneath the level of thoughts, the story, into the body itself. And just be next to that, whatever that sensation is in your heart, in your gut, in your hands. Wherever it happens to be, it might change, but you're just being with it. And in that gentle attention and focus, what you're saying is, I see you. You matter. And I'm just going to be right here for whatever needs to happen. It's like you're holding a little 2-year-old child who has fallen down and hurt their knee, and you're just saying, come here. I can't change what happened, but I'm just going to hold you, and you can cry. You can kick. It's going to be okay. I'm right here. And you're just holding that part of yourself with your presence. And that will shift. 5, 10, 15 minutes. It will shift. It will let go because this feeling has just wanted to be felt and seen and acknowledged. And once it really feels your presence, that's what it's been there for. That's what it's asking for. So it feels your attention and awareness, and it lets you go. And you've returned. And the level is lowered in the pot. And now you can do the work of regaining your equanimity, your balance. And I'll talk about that in another video. Sometimes the work of repair of what we've done before we realized we were triggered and did this practice. So I want to offer this to you. It is universal. It's easy to understand. And actually, when you start to do it, it's easy to do because you start to see the rewards right away. And it's quick, and it doesn't take hours, it doesn't take days. It's very, very quick. Feel your feelings. Release that trigger. God bless you.